Terror Labyrinthian is the debut full-length album from Nuclear Tomb. This is a Baltimore, Maryland-based thrash metal band, a thrash death metal band, a progressive death thrash metal band. None of the usual qualifiers really fit perfectly for this band, because they are cut from an interesting cloth where a lot of their tastes were born from, I would say, hardcore punk, but more of the almost mathcore side of things. So they had a unorthodox approach to their choice of chords and their interest in skronking dissonant framing for heavier pieces that informs their otherwise old school kind of 80s heavy metal incensed proclivities. So basically there's a technical thrash metal side to the band, there's a punk side to the band, and there's also a early progressive death metal influence to what they do. And so they're a death thrashing band first and foremost, but you'll get a sense that there is a strong Voivod they've stated in interviews that Voivod is the culmination of a lot of the things that the main songwriters are interested in. So that's a way of saying that this is a different sort of group that formed back in 2011 or so. There is a late 80s thrash metal basis to what they do. That's sort of where a lot of the forms that they're interested in all come together, whether it's a crossover feeling thrash song or it's a maybe a more like early 90s death metal feeling. Most of it all comes back to a simple but still complexly stated, almost progressive flavored thrash. The core of the experience is not hard to conceive of, but I think what this band had done well in the past was marry these things at kind of a mid-pace. I reviewed their Succumbing EP back in 2019, and I feel like everything that I said about it was maybe hyperbolic enough to where they've sort of grown into that, becoming their reality over the course of one more EP and this album, which is quite good. So let's cut to a song here and get a sense for just what this album sounds like. You'll get a good idea of what they're all about, probably within about those 15 seconds, but we'll discuss what else there is to enjoy about this record after that. So the way the band described themselves is a weird thrash, and I think that's a fine way to introduce their sound, because you'll probably most interested in this as a fan of thrash metal. Maybe you'll have some interest from extreme thrash metal, and maybe the points where a band like DBC, or even if you just arrived upon thrash through something like Vector, you'll understand why their frantic, seemingly chaotic approach comes together in a way that it's intentionally a little bit tuneful. It's intentionally framed by plenty of solos. They've ramped up the aptitude in terms of solos that fit. They've got some dissonant and sledgier parts towards the end of the album. They've got fast, shorter songs that just kind of attack. So if you're a fan of Sadus or anything like that, you'll get what this is. But their own style has a swinging, rocking feeling to it, which is still related to the core speed metal experience as it transformed and influenced death metal and technical thrash metal. So this isn't a rigid at all, or this is not a stuffy release, the way I would describe it, and I do here in this in the review. So the way that I describe this loosened feeling here is, if you're familiar with Fatal, a death thrash metal band from Detroit, or the earlier side of Mekong Delta, there is a looseness and a frantic statement happening in every moment with Nuclear Tomb, and they really fill every moment with some kind of aggression or dramatic statement. It reminds me of bands like Ripping Corpse and Mass Psychosis, who they were kind of bending the death thrash thing to their own will at that point. They were doing something a little bit different because there was so much competition at that time. And I feel like this band, they're still taking it easy on the speed, like they're working up to a faster pace, and I think it's already to the point where it's remaining tuneful and engaging. They do keep it manic enough to where they can show off some of their other influences outside of what you'd expect from just me comparing it to Voivod. So there's much more to it than that. It's a short album that is packed with action all the way through, and in this sense it should be pretty intense as a first induction, and it should be hard to find those points of like what's memorable and what's not. But I guarantee you'll find something that is worth coming back to, and you'll find that it's a pretty engaging record. It was for me. You'll note the marks are highest for connection. I think I just understand what they're doing pretty well, and I think they explain it pretty well otherwise. For me, I'm just a fan of this type of thing. I think the weirdest examples of thrash metal from the late 80s are the ones that have stuck in mind and influenced the most groups. And I think this is, if you're more of a, what people call like a crate digger, like you'll go through and look for the weird outliers and the stuff that really fits your aesthetic. You'll appreciate what this band is doing by finding their own niche and their own voice. And they took their time doing it. This band took about almost 10 years to arrive upon this result, and I think it shows that they're ready to go with this, and they're ready to tour and go out there and get at it with their own identity and not just take someone else's ride. In that sense, I feel like they've done everything right leading up to this record, and the result speaks for itself. Definitely go check it out. It releases tomorrow, April 19th, and you should be able to hear it now. Otherwise, go and read my review for more of my thoughts in depth and see if this is your thing.